So, the saga continues after merely half a year. And it's about the quads. It's not a project where I was working on, but somehow there was a viewer that asked some questions about the quad because he had a pair and he asked if I could help him dismantle them. Well, that's no problem, I can do that. The problem is putting them back together, as usual. And putting them together is not a problem, but trying to do it as close as it's supposed to be, sort of. I mean, there are always concessions to be made, but yeah, I try not to do it completely random at least. So, I thought, you know what, since I want, well, at least since the thing I want to know takes some time, I thought I should do it right now because it has to sit for a time. What I wanted to do is try coding from the coding from ESL. Let me grab it. I never used it because I thought it was ITO related, indium tin oxide related. And well, you might ask, why is that a problem? Well, I thought, and I've read this correct, but there are two data sheets of Licron, and in one of them it mentions that there is indium tin oxide in there, which is the conductive component. But, and I was not very pleased with Licron myself. I don't say it is bad, but I have bad experience with it. So I thought this one worked as well as with indium tin oxide, ITO in short. So I didn't use it myself. I gave it away actually. And it's really expensive, I noticed. Half of it, of course, I still have some, but the thing was, the old Licron, not Licron crystal, had ITO in it, and it worked flawlessly, but it produces some haze and some other problems. And the new one doesn't state it in the datasheet anymore, so probably it is not in there. It's more likely, and well, they're never gonna say that it is or gonna state it somewhere. I've read it somewhere, I'm not sure where, that it's some sort of conductive polymer thing, which gives also a higher resistance. But I didn't have luck with it. I don't like it at all. I rather would like to have a little bit lower resistance even. So I gave this stuff a try, and on the side it says it gives you around 200 mega ohm if you dilute it by 2 to 1 actually, if they say 1 to a half, which is the same as 2 to 1. So I guess 2 parts of this, 1 part distilled water. I've read my instructions wrong, because it says, no, it's completely me. It says 1.05 water, which is exactly the same as 2 to 1. Why don't people say 2 to 1? They start off with 1 probably. But so I made a slightly too diluted version, and I read around 300 meg, sometimes 400 meg. So it is quite consistent in terms of that I diluted a tiny bit too much, but I did use quite a lot. So yeah, I taped off the sides as in the originals, and I applied in this case a carbon coating on here on the edge. The reason is, this is the opposite stator, and it has an aluminum strip here, and it needs a way of connecting to the membrane, and it can do this against this 200 meg coating, but it's nice to have sort of a conductive barrier in between it. Well, makes a little bit better connection than the 200 meg stuff, because the aluminum and the high voltage might eat it away around the aluminum foil. So in this case it makes a good connection, and then it goes onto the foil. That's the idea. It's in the original quad as well, although they use graphite. This is acrylic paint with lots of carbon and graphite, and has a very low resistance, I think. At least that's the idea, of course. So didn't measure it, but I can imagine it is quite low. Probably just complete. Yeah, I can measure it with this 3K, so that's really low. But the coating itself is around 300-ish. But yeah, you can slightly, maybe, yeah, you can see where I taped it off. You see a little bit haze here, so where the coating is, no coating, coating. So on this edge there is no coating either. And I taped off these edges as well, as you can see by the straight line, to prevent leakage. So there's no conductive path, at least not on purpose, to the outward of the panel. It all remains in this piece here. Unless, I mean, with high voltages, a dirty finger and just move it all over the place and you got some leakage probably. So it is not that easy, but at least this way you can prevent a really good leakage path. You might even go with a clean cloth with some alcohol, like the outside perimeter, just like here for instance. So yeah, now the thing is, we need to have holes here, which are in the original panels. So we're gonna poke some. So let's fire up the iron. The iron is hot. This is not your typical soldering iron, as you might see. It's really sharpish. It's my make holes in mylar iron. So I got this this thing, and it has holes here, which is really nice and convenient. I'm gonna use this hole as a template. And it has been a while that I've done this, so hopefully I won't fuck up my panel, which I didn't measure for resonance yet, so I'm not even sure if it is correct. So I lay it over, push on it, and this looks to be too small. I'm gonna take one bigger. Yeah. And that should... yeah. I hope I can show you. There you go. Must be sure that there are no hairs, like maybe there is one. I have to take a closer look. Not like human hairs, but mylar, molten mylar hairs. Well, that was the annoying one. It melted away, but I don't like to do that again. But this is how I do it. Usually not with the... one file swoop. Yes, that's hot. This one completely clean, nice. this one clean. Nice. So there are the holes. So next up, since I didn't measure this pen, or I did measure it once, but it is a very long time ago when I was busy with this kind of stuff, so I'm gonna drop it on the measurement jig and see what resonance this thing actually is. Because I noticed that it matters how I set up my stretching jig, what kind of resonance I measure. So I had to play detective on my own. So in the end I found photos of the old setup of a known panel that I still have to recreate exactly that, measure the original panel I still have to have exactly the same resonance, and then call it a day, and that's how I'm supposed to do it every time. So it would be nice if I documented this better. I mean, it had to do with where I put two pieces of wood where the jig is standing on. That even matters. Apparently, I didn't know, of course. Now I do, so now I might take a good photo of it, accompanied with a measurement, and put it somewhere safe before all my original panels are gone and I cannot recheck it. So, I'm gonna throw it on. So, I got two original panels, one white one and a black one, and all panels have serial numbers, which is nice. This is the 000165. So I measured the 00165, and I had a black panel with the other serial number, of course, and these are the responses. And that's of the foil, it's not in duty, so it's just the resonance of the foil. And you can see that the red one is the white panel and the black one is the green line here. And the black panel has a slightly higher resonance of 160. Let me zoom in. 64-ish, and the other one is around 60, so it's like 4 hertz difference. But I know that most people like the black ones better, and I will try to come close to 165 or something. That was the goal, kind of. I mean, usually tension does not build. I mean, it loses some tension, but usually it doesn't rises, because mylar, as some say, doesn't get brittle. That's doesn't have plasticizers, so it remains the same, actually. So now let's dump on the panel we just created with the holes and such. See what it does. It's in between. Okay, so fair enough. As you might be able to see, red is the white panel, green is the black panel, and blue is my panel. 61 hertz. I can live with that, I think. I think that's that's close enough. The thing is, I coded it right now, so I can do nothing with it for a long time again. I'll put it in a frame probably, connect it, measure it, and leave it on maybe. Yeah, I'll just leave it on, I think, and just we're gonna measure it in a month or something, or maybe longer, I don't know. But at least I'm not gonna say it works after a few days, because I've done that and not going there anymore. Don't want to get them get them out and replace everything again. It's no fun job, so I have to be sure this coating does stay. As for the panels and the resonance and the holes, that works great. Applying this stuff from ER, I use the foam brush, is also nice. Works really good. So I hope the coating remains. Then I can finally finally fix all those panels and get these two sets playing again. Would be nice. It took me long enough, I think. Well, see you next time when I put it in the quad. Then we do a quick measurement and then we just wait. Oh, by the way, this is how the setup looked right now. So there I measured the panel. This is the one we made just a few minutes ago.